welcome to the Sally Studio. Today I am working in my Artpocalypse 2020 Making Magic. Is that what I called it? Making Magic journal. Every time I say this for the recordings, I'm like, oh, when's it going to be over? I think I'm kind of running out of ideas for my pages. The prompt for this one, and today is, what are we working on? The 25th, and the prompt was teal. So this was a bottle of fluid paint by Golden, I believe, in teal. I didn't realize I had not edited out the drying of that. And of course it got everywhere because I just poured it and sprayed it and let it run. It's on lots of pages. And that page was falling apart, so I had to tape it down so that it would stay together. Hopefully it will survive. So I used a bottle of teal that's been sitting around forever, and it was a really pretty dark teal. And after I do this first little part, I'm kind of letting things dry. I sit there, I'm watching TV, and I just shake the bottle and shake and shake and shake. Because I could tell it had like this light color at the bottom. So I shook and shook and shook and shook and shook and shook and shook. Anyway, for like an hour. It finally mixed. And then I decide I have to use it later. And it's not the same pretty dark color. It ends up being much lighter. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of disappointed. But it works out. So, like, see, there it is. It's much lighter now. It's not the same darkness as it was before. So I pulled out something else that was still separated. Yes, I have two bottles. The little teeny one was a sample bottle. And the other one was one that I purchased. So, yeah. Anyway, little anecdote, side note, whatever. I couldn't think of what to do with teal, so I just googled magic quotes and found one. And that is what prompted the crystals that I'm trying to draw there. And just sort of abstract, sort of wintry looking background. And the quote was, "You know, the world is a magical place when Mother Earth grows her own jewelry." Well, that could count for crystals. Crystals was the first thing I thought of because I thought of diamonds and, jewelry. But there's also flowers, Those are her adornments, Mother Nature's adornments. Could have done those too. But I went for crystals. And crystals are I think they're kind of magical. And now I'm just going around shading everything. And I also, putting the quote in. I also decided I didn't like just having one crystal sitting there like a monolith. So I add a couple of little ones that look like they're already appearing out of the background anyway. I just emphasize them a little bit. Oh yeah, and you like how I erased that? There's a lot of paint on these pages. In fact, even dry, they kind of feel like leathery because they have a lot of paint on them. It's an interesting sort of thing. Anyway. Oh, I go through and put a little white on everything, but I don't make you watch that. Here's where I'm trying to... I'm adding some glittery paint. And I'm just trying to make those two little spaces look like crystals coming up on either side of the big crystal. There's my sparkle. And then just taking my Stabilo and doing a little shading. one's pretty square. But there it is, close up on the crystal part. Now the next day, the prompt was berries. And I Googled berries, and this is what I found. Yep, I found magic berries. So that worked. I'm going to paint some magic berries, but first I'm going to put an interesting background, and I'm just using a couple of shades of blue that are my favorite, mixed with a little bit of, this is Liquitex mixing white. So it's not titanium white, it blends really quickly and doesn't stand out too much, so I end up having to add more. But yeah, just going to create a sort of swirly magical background. Alright, now this white I'm adding is titanium white, because I'm going to create a little sort of crystal bowl to hold my magic berries. Now I'm going to take my little Posca and put some sparkles around the bowl, just to add a little bit more magic. And of course I couldn't come up with a quote for magic berries, so trying to find it. Oh, that's right. I put, I am sure there is magic in everything, and just surrounded the page with the words. everything almost didn't fit. So I just take a little Posca and put stems on my berries just because I thought they needed them. And there we have it. All right. So now we are on to day 27, and it was dots to lines. I'm like, that sounds like a doodling thing. So I decided I would pull up the night sky, and I think I picked the night sky over New York in October. And if it doesn't look like your night sky and you're in New York and it's October, I apologize. I did my best. So I googled this thing. I think it was like kind of a real-time sort of thing. Because as I was drawing, the image was shifting on my iPad. So the stars were moving slowly, very slowly, off the screen as I started to do this. If I'd have realized that, I would have started at the side that was disappearing first. Because there was no backing it up. It was very interesting. Anyway, so my dots are the stars, and the lines are the connecting the zodiacs together. There's zodiacs, right? And as I'm doing this, I didn't realize there were 4 cups. 4, well, Big Dipper and Little Dipper. And then there's another dipper. I didn't know there was 3 dippers. Of course, they weren't named on the map. They were just stars out there. So I don't know which one's which. I think those top 2 that I've already drawn there are the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. Oh. It looks like I've drawn all 3. Anyway, if you know what the other one is, let me know. Or maybe I was imagining things. I don't know. That's possible too. I decided some of the stars needed to be a little bit bigger because they were bigger constellations. That's the word I was looking for earlier. So I made some of the stars a little bit bigger because that's kind of how they looked on the map I was looking at. Tried to do some splattering, but that didn't work for me very well. So I got out some liquid ink and my toothbrush and splattered it on there. I decided to pick I think this is one of the signs for October, the scales. Which one is that? Sorry, I'm not prepared. It's been a couple of days since I looked at this. But I drew a set of scales. It's one of the signs, one of the zodiac symbols. I just can't remember which one. Try to really highlight it without blocking it all in with white, because I wanted you to be able to see. I don't know, I kind of liked the look of it. So I go around all the edges with this black micron just to eliminate any of the splatter or anything white that might be right next to it. so that it will stand out a little bit more. So I go right over the constellations. And the quote, I think my camera stopped. The quote is, "We are all made of stars and magic." And I add a little bit of my glitter paint, which you can't really see, but it looks cool, I promise. And we're on to the next one. And I know doing 4 of them is kind of long. It's a little over 20 minutes. But the next one, the prompt, it was for the 28th, today. Well, the day this airs. I did it a few days early. Is bottles. So I had this packaging, and I decided just to put some alcohol ink in there, blending solution, and make the bottles out of that. So I'm going to let that dry, putting it over the white so you can see what it looks like. And then I cut them all out, and now I'm tracing sort of bottle shapes. So we'll have a magic potion, of course. Once I do that, I want it to be light, but I don't want a white background, so I paint it white. And it's not as bright a white. I think when you just have it sitting on the paper, there's a little bit of light coming through underneath, which helps it appear lighter. So when you paint it, it's a little bit more muted and not quite as bright. But since I want to put a dark background on there, I figured giving it a couple of coats of the titanium white was a good idea. Okay, so for the background, I wanted to do something similar to what was in the berry page. So I'm using those same colors and just dotting them on there, and I'm just going to take my stencil brush and brush it. I think I was a little heavy-handed. It took forever for this to dry. A little too much paint on there, I think. Like, I hit it with the heat gun for a long time, and still it was gooey, and then had to do it some more. In fact, you don't see it, but there's a point where I touch it, and it lifts some paint off. You'll see it'll go from... See how they don't quite glow? I liked the glowing. You see where that white is? Yeah. That was from me touching it. But I am going to put dark behind those so they hopefully will stand out better. And then I'm going to just glue those on. I'm using my glitter glue with the fine point applicator. I really like that. And I think it holds really well, so. Sorry, I forget my hands are too close to me and not under the camera when I'm doing that. Just giving them some shading on the bottoms so they don't look like they're floating quite. And now I'm going to go around with my gold pen and just make them fancy bottles. Plus that'll help them show up a little bit better. And adding a little bit of white Posca for highlights, because I just felt like they ended up too dark. Touching it to make sure it's dry enough. And the quote I give on this one is, "There is no magic potion more powerful than you." And I think I made that one up too, because I couldn't find one that I wanted for that. This is the last one for this video, because tomorrow hasn't happened yet. So I will have the last one on the 31st. And then I'm planning on doing a flip through where I just flip through them all and read the quotes. I hope you'll come back and see that one so you can see all of them together. This has been really fun. I love my little booklet. Can't wait till it's completely done. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and thank you all for watching. Have a great day.